Now we know the secret to never
I am a
aging,
lesbian.
CBD oil. You're a lesbian? You're
Apparently.
Oh.
I saw Tar, the new movie starring Cate Blanchett.
I am a lesbian.
I did not like it. This film is written, directed, and produced by Todd Fields, who only film that I saw on his IMDb page that I was anyway noticeable was Little Children. I don't think I've seen it. I haven't seen it, but like I said, it was noticeable. I noticed it. Cate Blanchett in this film is Lydia Tár, a very decorated and accomplished orchestra conductor whose life is slowly falling apart during her creation of her new piece and possibly her magnum opus. Now, like I said, I did not like this movie. I know that's blasphemous, especially if you're looking on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, and Metacritic. It has like an 8.2 on IMDb, a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think it was last time I checked a 91 on Metacritic. So yeah, I'm going against the grain. I'm part of that 6%. Now, I'm not saying this movie is bad, because it's not bad by any means. It's probably one of the best made films this year, so I can definitely understand why it has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes and all the high acclaim that it does have. But personally, while I was watching it, it just couldn't connect with me. Cate Blanchett does give a pretty good performance. Sorry, what am I talking about? Pretty good? She gives an amazing performance as the titular star here, Lydia, to the point it doesn't feel like acting. It feels like we're following Tar in her day-to-day life as her life is slowly falling apart against her. That's just how good she is in the film alone. The directing here is also pretty good. I feels, like I said, I haven't watched most of his movies that he's made. He hasn't made many of movies, but the man he knows what he's doing with the camera. He knows how to put shots together. He knows how to film, compose a shot well. He's a real craftsman, okay? He knows his craft well. There's nothing wrong about this film on a filmmaking aspect. His filmmaking and the way he tells the story. There's a whole scene that's like 7 minutes, one shot, one take, where it's just it's top-notch debate dialogue going on, and that part in the movie is it's very entertaining, it's very much intriguing, it really brings you into the movie. But my overall problem why I did not like this movie is the pacing. This movie is 2 hours and 44 minutes long. Even though a lot of the scenes in this movie are well constructed, it's still not enough for me personally to keep me fully engaged for the whole 3 hours that it got me here. It's a character-driven story. With a regular film type story, there's always another plot point you have to get to that always keeps you engaged within the movie, in the story, and helping it move. More character-driven stories, you don't really move because you're sort of living in the life of what they're doing. So if they're not doing something, there's nothing else going on. And if they stop for a second, you stop for a second. If they're going for a minute, you're going for a minute. That's how I felt while this movie was going on. Sometimes it will bring me in through Cate Blanchett's acting, the dialogue, some of the things that it is discussing in this movie, but then it would bring me out when I'm seeing shots of her going for jogs and shots of her just dropping off her kids, or shots of her just sitting in her living room. It's all very much purposeful. There's nothing here that's just left on the table and not purposeful, but at the same time just being a character development. And Cate Blanchett, like I said, is doing a great acting job, so it doesn't feel like acting, but it still just feels like I'm watching someone meander around for 2 hours and 44 minutes, and personally, I don't want to watch someone meander around for 2 hours and 44 minutes. And the more and more it went on, the more and more I watched it, the more and more I realized this is just not a movie for me, personally. After, like I said, for 2 hours and 44 minutes long, for 2 hours of it, I was pretty much into it. It was seeming like the movie for me, even though it's feeling a little too self-indulgent and pretentious at times, I am still somewhat was in it for 2 hours. Now, the last 30 to 15 minutes, I was completely just out of the movie. I was at a point where I just wanted the movie to end, and it felt like it just wouldn't end. So it made me sort of just get mad at the entire movie. Even though the movie is pretty well put together, I don't see any flaws in the filmmaking. It's just personally is just not for my liking. I need a little bit more other than just a great performance, some great shots, and some intriguing filmmaking. I need something to really keep my attention and to keep me really invested in the film. Even though it does have some great music pieces in here, the sound design in this movie is amazing, and it should be. When it's a movie about music, sound, you have to have that be top notch, and it is top notch.
CBD.
If I was to give it a rating, it started off, like I said, for 2 hours of this movie was a 8 out of 10. But for that last 15 minutes that I just feel like just wouldn't end, it kind of bumped itself down to a 7. I think 7 is the lowest that I can give it for me personally. That's just how I felt. How did you guys feel? Let me know. Like I said, this movie it's getting praise everywhere. But this is for my people. This review is for my people who maybe didn't like this movie. You can get yourself a little cathartic place to come to have someone tell it, say how they felt and did not like it. I did not like this movie. It is a 7 out of 10. Goodbye.